They call it the ultimate symbol of global power, a floating fortress constructed from $13 billion of steel, dominating the vast horizons of the world's oceans. For decades, these massive vessels have dictated the terms of international engagement, serving as the backbone of naval supremacy and a mobile base for elite air power. But in the modern age of hypersonic, mass-produced anti-ship missiles, physical reality doesn't care about the ego of admirals or the golden ages of traditional naval warfare. The arithmetic of modern conflict has turned brutal. The attacker only has to be right once, while a multi-billion-dollar carrier must defend itself successfully every single time. To solve this impossible mathematical equation, the Pentagon is fighting back with a radical concept that challenges every traditional notion of how we project military force. They are turning humble, defenseless cargo haulers into the most terrifying missile platforms in the sky, capable of delivering more firepower than a modern guided missile destroyer. Welcome to the era of brutal arithmetic, where the United States is betting its future naval supremacy on what are essentially flying warehouses packed with advanced munitions. By the end of this video, you will understand how a strategy at just 1/10 the cost of a carrier group is about to rewrite the geometry of battle. This shift marks the end of centralized power and the beginning of a distributed, lethal network designed to overwhelm any adversary through sheer volume and mathematical precision. We are witnessing a revolution where quantity becomes its own quality, and the sky itself becomes the ultimate magazine for the world's most sophisticated long-range weapons. Physics does not care about your defense budget. It only cares about the finite number of targets your radar can track before the entire system hits its limit. Enter the Rapid Dragon program, the centerpiece of this military transformation, designed to exploit the mathematical weaknesses of even the most advanced integrated air defense systems. It is not a new weapon, but a revolutionary plug-and-play delivery system that turns a standard cargo plane into a heavy bomber without any permanent airframe modifications. Inside these sky trucks, specialized pallets packed with JASSM-ER stealth cruise missiles are rolled out of the cargo ramp just like simple supply crates or relief equipment. Once dropped, the pallet stabilizes itself using a complex sequenced parachute system, hanging vertically in mid-air while the transport plane continues its flight path safely away. The physics of the separation then take over, as the pallet acts as a stable launch platform, suspended thousands of feet above the Earth's surface. One by one, the stealth missiles are cleanly released from the bottom of the pallet, falling clear of the frame before their internal flight systems engage. They fall clear, ignite their powerful jet engines, and begin their autonomous silent flight path toward deep enemy territory using a combination of GPS and terrain mapping. A single C-17 transport plane can launch dozens of these cruise missiles in a single pass, a strike volume greater than an entire multi-billion-dollar guided missile destroyer. These missiles are ghosts, designed with low observable shapes that make them nearly invisible to the very radar systems. They are sent to dismantle and destroy. By leveraging existing logistics assets, the Air Force has essentially created an instant bomber fleet out of planes previously used only for carrying food and fuel. This modular approach means that any allied nation with a standard transport fleet can suddenly possess a long-range strategic strike capability, almost overnight. It turns the predictable logistics of war into a guessing game for the enemy, who can no longer distinguish between a supply run and a lethal strike. The sheer simplicity of the system is its greatest strength, removing the need for specialized pilots or the maintenance of expensive, dedicated bomber airframes. We are seeing the birth of a new philosophy in warfare, mass over sophistication, where quantity becomes its own unique and devastating form of quality. In a high-end conflict, this strategy is known as saturation warfare, a method of attacking that aims to simply overwhelm the defender's capacity to respond. Even if an enemy's advanced air defense system can intercept 99% of incoming threats, the math always wins if you simply launch 200 targets. When a wall of stealth missiles arrive simultaneously, the enemy's radar processors hit their tracking limit, their interceptors run out, and the defensive bubble finally bursts. Furthermore, this strategy triggers a catastrophic economic trap for the defender, forcing them to spend millions to stop weapons that cost only a fraction. The interceptor missiles fired by the defender often cost millions more than the mass-produced cruise missiles they are desperately trying to stop. During the engagement, you cannot win a total war by going bankrupt. Saving your territory while destroying your own economy is a mathematical defeat. In the long run, by decoupling heavy firepower from specialized expensive bombers like the B-21, The US can scale up an industrial-scale missile campaign almost instantly when needed. This allows the elite stealth assets to focus on the most difficult targets, while the cargo fleet handles the heavy lifting of saturating the enemy's defenses. The shift toward lower cost, high-volume weaponry is a response to the reality that in modern war, the side that can sustain production longest usually wins. Once the defensive bubble is shattered, the remaining missiles can strike high-value targets with impunity, ending the conflict much faster than traditional methods allow. This logistical superiority is the true engine of modern warfare, turning the supply chain into a direct weapon of destruction against any sophisticated adversary. The ability to launch from almost any airfield in the world makes this a global threat that is nearly impossible for an enemy to monitor. This is the death of the old guard and the birth of a new, more efficient way to fight, where math is as important as courage. This flying arsenal directly integrates with the US Navy's new distributed lethality doctrine, which aims to spread firepower across many smaller, cheaper platforms. Take the USS Tripoli, an amphibious assault ship, traditionally labeled as a second-class vessel compared to the massed supercarriers of the primary fleet. By modifying it into a Lightning carrier loaded with F-35B stealth jets, the Navy proved you don't need a $13 billion supercarrier to project massive power. In this decentralized network, smaller, dispersed platforms are much harder for the enemy's carrier-killer missiles to find and much cheaper for the military to lose. The strategy turns into a lethal shell game across the Pacific. Fighter jets from ships like the Tripoli act as forward sensors to find targets. Meanwhile, the C-130s and C-17s, taking off from remote dirt strips or highways in allied nations, provide the massive missile weight from hundreds of miles away. This synergy creates a web of lethality where the shooter and the sensor are miles apart, making it impossible for the enemy to strike back effectively. The enemy is forced to solve an impossible puzzle, never knowing which supply plane on their radar is a harmless logistics run or a hidden strike. By spreading the risk across many small units, the US ensures that no single hit can cripple its ability to continue the fight in theater. This is the true power of the joint force, where the strengths of the Air Force and Navy are combined into a single, unstoppable machine. Every island, every highway, and every small ship becomes a potential launch point, turning the entire region into a lethal minefield for any aggressor. These jets are the eyes of the fleet, identifying targets and passing the coordinates to the sky trucks waiting in the distance to deliver the blow. The result is a devastating blow that comes from nowhere, delivered by an aircraft the enemy never even considered a primary threat to their fleet. This speed and flexibility allow for a relentless pace of operations that can exhaust an enemy's defenses and morale in just a few days. The geopolitical implications are profound, as it allows smaller allies to contribute meaningfully to the defense of their own sovereign waters and territories. It is a transformation of the very culture of the military, valuing adaptability and clever engineering over the prestige of massive, vulnerable platforms. The geography of the Pacific is no longer a barrier, but a vast, distributed battlefield where the United States holds the mathematical advantage once again. Strategic insight from GeoGrid Intel. Let's be entirely realistic for a moment. Rapid Dragon is a brilliant stopgap supplement, not a permanent replacement for true bombers. On radar, a massive C-130 looks like a flying barn door. It is slow, highly vulnerable, and possesses zero organic self-defense against modern enemy fighter jets. If a single adversary jet leaks through the defensive umbrella, an entire pallet drop mission can be wiped out in an instant, losing dozens of expensive missiles. This puts too many eggs in one very slow basket. If the data link network is jammed or if severe weather disrupts the parachute physics, it fails. In a high-intensity electronic warfare environment, the coordination required for these mass launches could be easily severed, leaving the missiles blind and useless. Severe weather like a typhoon could disrupt the delicate separation physics of the pallets, causing them to collide or fail to deploy their missiles correctly. This trillion-dollar gamble falls apart if the logistical tail is cut, or if the transport planes cannot find safe runways to operate from during the fight. While carriers are vulnerable at sea, cargo planes are equally vulnerable on the ground, where long-range ballistic missiles can target their predictable airfield locations. We must remember that Rapid Dragon is an asymmetric tool, but it is not a magic bullet that solves all the problems of modern naval warfare. The reality is that a balanced force of stealth, mass, and traditional power is the only way to ensure victory in a peer-level conflict. The death sentence for the aircraft carrier may not be carried out today, But the traditional hierarchy of the seas has been shaken forever by this math. Technology has democratized destruction. When a repurposed cargo plane can systematically dismantle a modern defensive bubble, military tradition must finally give way to mathematical reality. The United States is adapting, turning its most undervalued logistics assets into the ultimate asymmetric weapons for the next great global conflict of the century. We solve these complex equations so you can see the cold, hard truth behind the global headlines and the changing nature of modern power projection. If you want more deep dives into the raw mathematics and technology of modern war, make sure to like this video and subscribe to GeoGrid Intel. Click the bell icon so you never miss a strategic update from our team of analysts as we track the future of global conflict and technology. Until next time, keep your eyes on the horizon, look beyond the surface of the news, and always stay vigilant in an increasingly complex world. The world is changing faster than ever, and the tools of war are evolving alongside it. Thank you for joining us on this strategic journey. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to bringing you more insights into the technology that shapes our future and our security. Stay tuned for our next episode as we explore the hidden dynamics of the global battlefield. This has been a GeoGrid Intel production.